This is the second video in developing our final project called Handheld Security Terms. And so far we've created a whole bunch of activities and menus and the ability to just kind of float around between our different activities here. Next thing we want to do is we want to take and add our database to it. First thing we have to do, and if you want to follow along, I'm actually in 1.2.9, adding the terms definition database in this DatabaseAccess class. Okay, here is my current terms definition. I got to take and right click on it, send it to a compressed like that, and then make sure you rename this because it's supposed to be terms definitions.db.zip like that. Okay, we're going to take and copy it and see. We got to make a folder first of all, don't we? Okay, and we're going to right click on our asset or our app up here and say a new and a folder and an assets folder like this and say finish. What that does is that adds a new folder right here, assets, right click on that, and a new directory called databases, databases, like that. And now we're ready to install. Open that up. Oh, I'm sorry, our assets. Open that up, right click on our terms definition.db.zip, copy, right click on databases and paste it right in there like this. And you should end up with a structure like this. Okay, then in Blackboard, let me go find Blackboard here a minute. Drag that over here. Okay, you can actually right click on database access right here in our assignment. Right click save link as, and I saved mine to my desktop and I already have it here. Okay, here it is right. Oh wait, I didn't. Let's put it back up here again. Right click save as to my desktop and say save like that. And then it shows up like magic. Right here, I'm going to right click on that, save or copy, and I'm going to go into my Java right there, right click right there and say paste. And of course we always have an issue with this because we have to, if we open up our database access, there's a line right here. Don't forget to copy this implements into one of our Gradle folders, and that Gradle scripts right here in the second one. And I'm going to take and copy that right at the bottom here. And it's going to say sync now. So you sync now. And that should take care of all of our little errors there. Okay, database access is happy. Good. Now let's go back to our Word document again. And I found by previous experience with our Spanish, okay, that we run into crashes, okay? And what happens is your whole application would just crash. It just goes away. No explanation or anything, okay? And so I thought we'd do a little error catching in this one, okay? So we're going to improve our database access program, okay, by using what they call a try-catch structure, okay? And we'll talk about that just a little bit more as we go. There's two different points where it seems to crash, okay? First of all, if you don't have your database in the correct spot, okay, it crashes on this open method. So we're going to write a little code for that. The second one that it crashes on is this get string, because if we can't open the database, then we also get an error there. Another reason why we get an error with our get string is you might put in the wrong field name or table name therefore giving you errors, okay? So let's write a little code into that, okay? First of all, let's go to our database access, look for the open, okay? Where's our open method, right? Here, okay? And what that does is just opens it. Let's take and copy this code right here, okay? I'm right here. Here's the open method, okay? The original one. Let's take and copy this code right here, and then we'll talk about it. I'm going to replace this open here with that. V, just like that, okay? Now we don't have a toast, so let's click on toast, alt, enter, import class. Now we have to have a context here to do a toast, okay? Let's go up here to the top and let's add a private variable here, okay? Let's just make it a variable. Constant, or context, right there, semicolon. And then when we first create our database right here, okay, let's take and say this context is equal to context, semicolon. We have to pass that context around to use toast. So when we receive it here, what we're doing is we're putting it in here, and now it's available, and we'll need it right down here in our open. Now what a try catch does is it tries to run some code. In this case, it's going to try to run this, open this database, okay? And if it can't do it, then what it does is it catches the error rather than just crashing. It actually gets the error name, puts it in E, and then what we want to do is make this an instance of null, so it looks like it didn't ever try to open the database. But then we make a toast and we say, okay, I parsed this out just a little bit. What it's going to say that this database name is not available, and it's going to toast that. So rather than giving us some bad information or just crashing, it's going to give us some information to why it's crashing. The second one we're going to do, let me go copy that code, okay, is this list get string, okay? This gets like all of the terms or all of the definitions. Copy that code. Once again, we're going to paste that where it says get string down here, right here. See it? Let's take and paste that right in here. C. Oh, excuse me, I did it wrong. V like that. Once again, we get a little try in here. What it does is it makes a SQL statement and tries to get all of the records of a certain field name from a certain table. And what it's going to do, it's going to say rather than crashing, okay, in this case, go ahead and toast it, and it's going to say something like this table isn't available or this field isn't available. It's going to be very helpful when we run our program, because now you aren't going to come to me and say, hey, my program just crashes, what happened? Now it's actually going to say my database isn't the right place, or my field name is wrong, or my table name is wrong. Okay, let's move forward. Little introduction to try catch, very small, but we did this context already, okay? And I put in here too that we're only doing the one, okay, because we're just using strings, but you could take and update these other ones in a similar fashion for the integer and for the double, but we aren't using those, so I won't take time to do that right now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and code the switchboard, okay, so that we can get that information and we can take and pass it here and there. First things we're going to do, we're going to take and grab some global variables, okay? Once again, we're going to work with switchboard activity. Make sure you have switchboard activity open. we're going to take and we're going to paste that right here. I'm going to paste it right here. And of course, we're going to take and Alt-Enter for that import the list class. Just like that, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here. I'm going to grab this piece of code, okay? This is to get the terms and databases from the, or excuse me, terms and definitions from the database. Once again, these variables up here we just pasted, okay, are going to store the terms and the definitions, and this actually is the name of our database, okay? And we're going to take and we're going to add that code just below the set content view right there, like that. Once again, it doesn't know what a text view is. I think some of these are so common that I would use them all the time, okay? What this code is going to do is it's going to go out and go to use our DatabaseAccess class, create a new instance of it, and it's going to send it the database name and, of course, the context here. And it's going to open it. Of course, it's going to go out there and DatabaseAccess. If the file's not there, it's going to toast something. It's going to say, sorry, it's not available. And also, if these terms and definition, if those aren't quite right, it's also going to toast an issue with that. Finally, what it's going to do, it's going to take that one text view that we have in there, and it's going to say, okay, text view, take and put this database connected with how many terms, how many terms records, okay? Or it's going to say database error if there's no terms in it at all. And now we got one more step for our splash screen, okay? And what we have is we have this intent, okay? We talked about this once before. We're going to pass these terms and definitions by our intent. Go ahead and copy this little tiny piece of little code right here. We're going to take and copy that and paste that into our, of course, our splash activity here. And we're going to take and put that excuse me, I misspoke. Our switchboard activity, okay. Here we have menu items in here. We're going to be calling this one right here, calls the menu dictionary, or excuse me, it's the, we'll call up the dictionary activity, okay. And this one calls up the quiz activity. What we're going to do is we're going to put that right here. Because now what's going to happen is that when we create an intent, we're going to put extra and we're going to send the terms and we're also going to send the definitions to this dictionary activity, okay? We'll find out more about that once we program our dictionary activity to receive these extras. We're also going to want to put that in our menu quiz right there. Because now also there we're going to receive these terms and definitions. So our switchboard activity actually loads all of the terms and definitions, and then it passes it to the other activities. It works kind of nice that way because you know right away when you load your program and you get to this switchboard screen, do I have a database? Do I have terms and definitions? You can go ahead and run it right now. It should show up with the splash screen, and then after a few seconds it should switch over to the switchboard activity, and then you should see in there that either you have no records, you have some records, or you have a problem connecting to your database. If you have problems connecting to your database, make sure that your database is got the correct name, okay, For example, where's my database? Make sure that it looks just like this. And then also make sure that your field name and your table name should be the same as mine. Make sure those are correct. And it should run.